In conversation with Sonia Jalaly, she, her, writer, Nicholai La Barrie, he, him, director, and Rima Georges, she, her, former Lyric Springboard trainee, about their new pantomime, Jack and the Beanstalk, at the Lyric Hammersmith Theatre. This conversation takes place in a room with 3 chairs in front of glass windows. From left to right, Nicholai is wearing a black jumper and trousers. He has black hair that is tied back and a trim beard and moustache. Sonia is wearing a red jumper and black trousers. She has short, chin-length, dark brown hair. Rima is wearing denim jeans and a V-neck top with dark blue, light blue, and olive checked pattern. She has chin-length, curly black hair.
Thank you for taking the time today to speak to me about this year's pantomime and the pantomime at the Lyric Hammersmith in general. I've just got a couple questions for you.
Right.
Firstly, can you explain what you love about pantomime as an audience member, but also a director and writer?
It was the first experience of theatre that I had as a child. I remember being absolutely terrified of the Ebenezer in Aladdin. I remember as a child this feeling naughty. There's something like rebellious about it that I love. I love feeling that feeling in the audience. That's what I hope to be able to create, something for kids that feels adults being naughty.
For me, I didn't grow up in this country, so the first time I saw a panto, I was an adult. And I didn't understand what was happening. Because it's so traditional, right? There's people screaming at the actors on stage, and I'm like, why are they talking to the actors?
Yeah.
What is going on? And so I felt like it was something that I wasn't involved in, I didn't know the rules of. And so then I really wanted to know what the rules were. And as I watch it now, the seeming anarchy and seeming like chaos on stage feels really exciting. You know, a traditional play, you kind of know what the scene is, you know what the setup is, and you kind of know where the story is going to go. With something like this, like anything could happen at any point in time, and you just kind of have to go with it. So that's why I love it. That's why I love the form.
How do you approach that in the rehearsal room with actors? How do you prep for that?
There's certain bits that we're like, we don't mind whatever the audience are shouting at this bit, let's see what they come up with, because sometimes you get some really funny things.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where you really need to steer them to say specifically the right thing.
But that's baked in, so that's in the script from the beginning. And we work those beats in the room to make sure that we really get the best out of it.
For the actors on stage for these, they can basically tell the audience what they want them to do.
Okay.
And so like, you know, when you'll see them go like that at the audience, like that's not loud enough, I can't hear you, and then repeat it. And the game is set up really early on. Like this is only going to work if you guys play with us. It's like a contract at the beginning of the show that's like, this is how it's going to go. We're going to do this, and you're going to do this back, and then we're going to play, and then the thing will be fun. And I'd say most of the time, if you set that contract up right,
100%.
the audience goes with it.
So you're the writer this year for the 2025 Jack and the Beanstalk. You were also the co-writer for the 2022 production at the Lyric Hammersmith for Jack and the Beanstalk also. How is this version different? How have you set it up differently?
Yeah, that was a really important thing, because I was like, how are we going to do something like radically different to the bones of it to make it feel different from the absolute off? And so we set it in a school, which feels like that changed it all immediately. Instead of it being about a village that is terrorised by like a landlord, it's a school that is terrorised by an evil headmaster.
So the other thing that we talked about a lot too was who Jack was inside of that, right? And talking about where boys are at these days and how and what's going on with them in terms of like the manosphere and all of these things, and like how does a vulnerable, sensitive boy react in a world that is really, really difficult and really harsh? And then how do you bring out a creativity from somebody who like finds it difficult to interact with the world? So the story is, it's still Jack and the Beanstalk, but it's the beats are slightly different in that what Jack wants and how he navigates inside of that school should be really familiar to lots and lots of kids going to school these days.
I like the complete shift to a different setting of a school, and what the Lyric Hammersmith is really good at doing is evolving traditional stories and bringing in diversity and inclusion in all productions, and you're doing that now. Why is that important for you?
It's a really diverse audience that comes to see the panto, and often it's the first time someone maybe has come to see anything in the theatre at all. You want them to feel like this is for them, this reflects them in the story.
Yeah, I totally agreed with that. And the other thing is that as artists, we have to be reflective of our times and ask questions about the world that we live in currently and why we do the things that we do now. And I think if you ask a question, a deep, important question, wrapped up in a way that makes people feel comfortable and at ease and gentle in themselves, then the reflection and the answer that you get comes from a genuine place rather than trying to beat somebody over the head with something and say you shouldn't be doing this.
This is why fairy tales exist in the first place. It's a commentary on the world that we live in, and so there is something that's like timeless about the original story of Jack and the Beanstalk, but that doesn't mean that we can't also look for a new meaning and a new fairy tale for our time to make sense of the struggles that children experience right now in schools and in the wider world.
Nicholai, as a director, how do you approach the pantomime genre in the rehearsal room compared to the other genres that you produce?
Well, you know, you're essentially making a brand new musical comedy. Like, that's the sort of bucket it's in, and there's some rules that you kind of have to follow, but there's some things that are just kind of salient to me when I make shows like this. It's like the musical numbers have to be spectacular. So it's like there's no too big in the musical numbers. But then also at the same time, what you've got to be able to do is pull it right down to who those characters are, what they need and what they want, and just basically have really sharp conversations between them. And then on top of that, you have a ridiculous kind of slapstick version of things that are happening as well. So those three elements, if they play really well together, then you feel like you have a really good show.
Can you explain your collaboration with other creatives working on Jack and the Beanstalk?
Me and Sonia went and sat in George's very, very nice workshop every couple of weeks for 2 months.
Afternoons sat together in this workshop, being like, what if the school gate is Flesh Creep's head and all this stuff like that? What if the beanstalk is made of this? Like, we just workshopped it.
Yeah, where we ended up, we went through like 7 or 8 different versions of what that thing could be like. And that's really useful because it's really collaborative, right? And so everybody's on the same page with what we're doing from really, really early on. And then obviously, like, Georgia goes off and designs a thing, right? After we all have a conversation and she does that. With Kayla, who is our choreographer, after we had the first draft of the script, me and her sat down and talked about what the numbers were. And then we just watched a bunch of reference videos. And we found a style and we talked about what each number would look like. With Adam and Corin, Adam is our MD and Corin is our composer. In this show, none of the songs play through as one song. They all are mashed up with other things in it. Once we decided what those were, we talked about what the feeling needs to be inside of them.
I'd say more than any other form that I work on, it's so important the collaboration is there and that it is open, and you can't be precious about what your idea is or what somebody else's idea is. It's like once an idea is out there, we collectively all own it. Like, it needs coherence, but there is a level of like, it's a broad brushstrokes things. It has to be for everyone, so it's got to include everybody's tastes, and it's a collage of all these different ideas.
I said yesterday when we met everybody that it takes a village to make the show, and I really, really genuinely believe that. It really does take a village to make the show.
It seems that way. The collaboration, the openness, the inclusivity, like, it all comes together to make pantomime what is pantomime. So thank you so much for speaking to me today.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.